it looks fishy just because Kawhi has been like literally like a top 5, top 7 player in the NBA for the last 2 months or so. And, his inclusion, you would think that there's something bigger going on that we maybe just don't know about because it kind of doesn't make sense.
So the 2026 NBA All-Star roster has officially been released. Rodney, let's just jump right in. Were there anybody that surprised you that was not on the list?
Oh yeah, Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard for sure I felt like should have been an all-star. The Clippers are like 16-4 in their last 20 games. Kawhi has been looking like a reincarnation of Michael Jordan at times. And there was a couple of players on the Western Conference All-Star Reserves list who I feel like he's played better than, namely Chet Holmgren, and I know it's sacrilegious, but also LeBron James. Now, for business purposes, you got to have LeBron in the All-Star game somehow, some way. So I'm not mad at Bron's inclusion. After 21 years, he should be able to fart on a basketball court and qualify for an all-star game. But for Chet Holmgren, who's averaging around 18 points a game, I'm just looking at what he does, which is very important to the operating system for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I'm wondering, is it more valuable for him to be the secondary option on the Oklahoma City Thunder, or is it more valuable for Kawhi to be the A option for the Los Angeles Clippers and putting up substantially better numbers? It was one thing that kind of stood out to me. I don't know if you saw, I did a short a while back about the fact that the structure of this year's All-Star game is going to be a bit different. And so it was going to have to include some international players that maybe wouldn't have made the All-Star game. But so I'm looking at Pascal Siakam there, who's on the worst team in the entire NBA, being a part of the All-Star game, which is crazy. But you needed to have an international player fill out the rest of the international roster. So.
Okay, so I'm going to put on my tinfoil hat.
Yeah.
Okay. What if the Clippers are being punished for the things that happen that we've talked about on this platform regarding their owner and Kawhi getting paid illegally?
Yeah.
I wonder if that's the league's way of punishing them without outright punishing them.
That's a great point. I didn't even think about that, to be honest with you. It didn't even cross my mind. There could be some real legitimacy to that. I think we haven't come to like a final discovery on what actually took place. Nobody has really spoken about it since the beginning of the season. It's kind of been swept under the rug. So maybe this is somewhat of a silent punishment that the NBA is doling out. But it looks fishy just because Kawhi has been like literally like a top 5, top 7 player in the NBA for the last 2 months or so. And, his inclusion, you would think that there's something bigger going on that we maybe just don't know about because it kind of doesn't make sense. That's a great point.
Especially because this Kawhi that we're seeing right now, we haven't seen.
Yeah.
I kind of miss seeing him play and play well. So, you would think that he would be rewarded for that, but he's not. And so, I got to put my little conspiracy hat on.
Yeah. You really down the rabbit hole. I like where you at with it. Kawhi is, I wonder how he's going to be remembered, like historically. Guy is obviously, from a talent standpoint, one of the best talents we've ever seen in the entire NBA. He's probably no worse than the 4th best small forward of all time, just looking at what he's been able to accomplish at a championship level. But then there's these huge gaps of obviously him missing so many games, missing so much time. It feels like there's a part of his career arc that is just a little bit incomplete. And I don't know, with this scandal hovering above him, if that will also put him in a position or a place where people look at him unfavorably historically. But I've just begun to wonder, how he'll be regarded, because from a talent standpoint, bro is cold. Like on the offensive and defensive end, he's different. Like sometimes it looks like he's playing a different kind of game than everybody else. Like it's spooky. It's spooky how talented he is.
No, I remember, oh my gosh, my brother loved Kawhi. The Claw, right? He always talked about his hands. He would scream around the house, Kawhi! Like
what he used to do? He used to scream his name. Your brother used to scream out Kawhi's name. That's not.
If
crazy.
He was like shoot, like how people like Kobe or whatever, he would scream Kawhi.
Scream out Kawhi that's crazy actually. But
he loved Kawhi.
Okay.
He loved Kawhi. I should call him and be like, do it one time for the show. Okay, before we get to the East, the West, you just talked about Chet and Jamal Murray, both first-time All-Stars. That was kind of interesting about Jamal, but okay.
Well, real quick, Jamal has had some really great seasons, but the guards in the Western Conference, I mean, he was dealing with Steph, Dame, Westbrook, Harden. Like there were a limited amount of spots available to him. So yeah, I didn't, him not making an All-Star game, while it is kind of surprising, is not because of no reason. He just ran into the greatest lineup of point guards the NBA has ever seen at one time. So Luka Doncic, it just goes on and on. The East. Okay, let's talk about the Eastern Conference All-Stars. So Karl Anthony Towns has had a season that I think a lot of people would say is disappointing. The Knicks have been playing decently, right? But Cat is averaging the lowest amount of points that he has since his rookie year. He's under 20 points per game right now. He hasn't really fit into what Mike Brown has instituted in New York, and he's getting a lot less touches. They're very Jalen Brunson centric, and I think for Cat, it's a little bit uncomfortable, and it looks like it. So to see him in an All-Star game, granted he's a Knick, and you want to have that Knick presence, but it does look a little clunky this year for Cat. But I don't know if his inclusion is because of the international flair that the All-Star game is going to be having this year, right? So Cat, we know, plays for DR in international play, right? So I don't know if he'll be playing on the international team or if he's just a regular All-Star. Same for like Donovan Mitchell, who I believe said that he wanted to be tied into the international team because I think his mom is like maybe Panamanian or something like that. He said that. So I don't know. I don't know where people are. Where people want to exist, but Cat, I was looking at a little bit suspiciously.
Okay, so I did miss your short breaking down this new format. Can you tell me more about that, please?
Yeah, so the All-Star game is set up of 3 different teams of 8 players apiece. One of those teams is the international team, so you needed to have 8 players from overseas to make this year's All-Star game. Again, this is why a guy like Pascal Siakam is being rewarded for having a decent season on the worst team in the league, because you had to have bodies fill out the rest of that roster spot. In the West, Denny Avdia has been playing phenomenally for Portland, so I don't want to say that he's in that like he falls in line with that, because he's just been really, really good this year. But the Portland Trailblazers are not good. And for the last 10, 15 years or so, because of Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith kind of reformatting how media chooses to select people to be in the All-Star game, like winning was rewarded. Winning has been like the greatest metric by which people measure someone's individual season success, which I always thought was stupid. In the All-Star game, I want to see people that like have legitimate talent, that want to actually be there, that play hard or exciting. But yeah, so you had to have a couple more players who probably would not have made the All-Star game be included in the All-Star reserve bank, just so that you could fill out that roster. And so that's how you get guys like Kawhi Leonard left on the outside of things.
Okay, so that's going to be really interesting. I'm hoping that brings more eyeballs to the game. Maybe they'll be more competitive this year. I'm also very interested to see the dunk contest, because I just really hate how this has just really gone down. And Edgecombe was just kind of like, ugh, like, no, I'm not. Like, what? Even McClung is not even doing it this year. I'm just
thank God for that. Thank God for that.
I mean, I know, but I'm saying at least he took it seriously. Like, people aren't even like, they don't even care anymore. So I'm like, do we need to continue to do this?
So I know Jackson Hayes is in it, the center for the Lakers.
Okay.
Anytime there's a 7-footer in the dunk contest, I'm always like, who really cares? Even Dwight Howard, when he won it. Yeah, it's such a crazy thing, man, that people no longer want to display their athleticism and creativity on the basketball court. But that just shows kind of like, it's the LeBron and Steph effect. You had Bron decline to take part in the dunk contest, and that kind of changed what the legacy of the dunk contest meant. He was supposed to carry that mantle after Kobe as, the face of the league. You do the dunk contest, he was like, nah, I'm not doing it. And then the Steph Curry effect is like, people want people to shoot threes. People love shooting threes. So now you have guys who are supreme athletes, Donovan Mitchell, right, who has participated in the dunk contest in the past, but a guy like Donovan Mitchell now who also wants to be regarded as a shooter, and so he's putting his name into the hat for the three-point shooting contest, and he's been a part of the contest in the past as well. So, and for many people, that's the most exciting part of All-Star Weekend is the three-point shooting contest. So,
I guess
I feel bad. Yeah, I would love for them to like get rid of the dunk contest and like let's do ones. Like let's run the 1v1.
They're not gonna do it.
It's so crazy because the women do it. The women do it, and for the men, I feel like especially right now because there's all these different one-on-one leagues, right? You have like Next Chapter. There's just all these different one-on-one leagues on YouTube. I love them. I watch them all day. But you have these guys who are non-professional taking up this one-on-one format, and NBA guys like all right, context. I'm sorry, I'll wrap this up. I know I've been talking a lot, but I love hoop.
Okay.
So when I was working in the NBA, I went to Vegas one year to watch the USA team practice and scrimmage. This is when John Wall and Bradley Beal were a part of the pool of players that potentially could have made the international team, right? And so I was out there because that's family extended, and there was a 1v1 called it's King of the Hill with Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Paul George. This is the year that Paul George actually broke his leg. I was actually at that game. But when I tell you that we were sitting courtside watching these three jokers play 1v1, and it was like the most mesmerizing thing I have ever seen on the basketball court. The shot making, the creativity, the efficiency, like that level of skill on display, I think could grow the game of basketball exponentially when you have the best of the best showcasing what they can do in a 1v1 setting. 5-on-5 is one thing. How you get down in a real basketball game is cool, but when you see what these NBA players can do, like on an individual level, like without help defense and all of that, it's stunning, yo. It's art. It really is art, bro.
They don't want to do it. I think that there's like this, they don't want to be embarrassed, right? Nobody wants to be embarrassed. Somebody has to lose, and nobody wants to do that. And that sucks because I feel like it's affecting the very essence of what the All-Star Weekend is supposed to be. It's supposed to be showcasing, your individual talent.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to do that because they don't want to lose. You just brought up the Paul George injury. I feel like there's like a few moments in history where you know where you were when that happened. Speaking of Paul George.
Yes. That's a
you said you was right. Okay.
I was right in the Thomas Mack Center, but yes, let's talk about Paul George, who has been suspended for 25 games. I don't know what the actual drug is that he's been, that was found in his system. I don't know if it's PEDs or something else. I don't know. He made a statement saying that this was a byproduct of poor mental health, and it was a really ambiguous and vague kind of statement.
Yeah.
So
because I was under the impression that it was drugs for mental health. I don't know exactly which one, but the way that for me it was worded or people were reporting was that it was something that he was taking to help him battle whatever mental health issue he was dealing with. And it seemed, I don't know if they can't tell the difference when they're doing blood tests, in these different medications. But if that is the case, we don't know. But if that is the case, that is sad. That he was taking the medication. Okay.
People do a lot of things to deal with their mental health. Some people use. Okay.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying like we don't. Like I don't know. I'm saying this is like a legit like antidepressant or something like that.
Yeah, I didn't get that sentiment. I didn't get that sentiment. Okay. We all know that Paul has been dealing with quite a bit of scrutiny over the last year and a half because when he signed on with the Philadelphia 76ers, he was given a max contract, and the assumption was that him being on that roster would make them a championship caliber team. The injuries between him and Joel Embiid have kind of derailed a lot of that momentum, although at times this year they have played really well. But Paul George, at one point was one of the front runners in terms of or faces of podcasting with current athletes. We don't even see Paul George, podcast P anymore. And so clearly there's been a shift or a change in him somewhere, somehow. And it feels like to me, there's a bit of escapism that he was aiming for. That's just outside looking in. He was looking to escape some things, some of the stresses that maybe life has dealt his way over the last year and a half, his body failing him a little bit, not being able to do the things that you're accustomed to Paul George being able to do on a basketball court. And so maybe, he found solace in some different things. Or he could have just been taking something to get his body back right. I don't know. Oh,
well, that too. I'm an advocate for mental health. So I was hoping that, he took the proper, it depends on who you ask, the proper avenues to say, hey, I'm dealing with this mentally, I'm going to go see a psychiatrist. Maybe they prescribed him something that flagged the NBA when he was drug tested. Word. But that could not be the case.
Yeah, it could not be. You know where I stand. I feel like athletes should be allowed to use HGH for recovery. I stand by that. Like these are the greatest athletes on the face of the planet. This is a business, and in NASCAR, they don't put regular gas. They don't put 87 in those high-powered vehicles. And so in sports, football, basketball, baseball, all the things, like being able to use HGH for recovery, that these athletes are on the court, on the field, you know, all of these games, taking wear and tear on their knees, on their joints, all these different things, something that speeds up their recovery, I think should absolutely be incorporated into the sport, because we want to see them at their best. And if that's what he's been discovered is in his blood, then I feel like, you know, that maybe it's time to revisit that conversation around what's allowed and what's not.
Yeah. And I wholeheartedly agree about the recovery. I think obviously sports takes a lot out. You know, it takes a toll on people's bodies and all the things. But I do feel like maybe the thought process is that you are superior than other average people, right? And so maybe they don't want to now help you even more than God has helped you. Do you see where I'm going with that?
I hear what you're saying, but I feel like the concept
I don't agree. I'm just saying that could be an argument.
To be 250, 260 pounds, 6'8", like nobody is designed to really like absorb like the physical toll that sports at a professional level requires. Like that's a heavy task. Like Joel Embiid's leg at times feel like it's just not even really attached to his body.
Why do you keep saying that? And it's making me squirm every time you say that.
He be dragging that leg. He really does drag that leg. And so, and not even just now, but like in 20, 30 years from now, how is Joel Embiid going to be walking?
I feel like these major leagues need to come together to say either we're going to allow our players to get help in recovery, or we're going to reduce the amount of games because they're being greedy. Something's got to give, because you're being greedy. You want more product to sell, but you're not helping them recover to actually be able to perform at their best. So I agree with you there. Something's gonna have to give.
Yeah, for sure, man. All right, we are definitely off on a tangent right now and running hella long, but thank you so much for joining me in this basketball conversation, Samaria. We ended up in a really smooth place, and I just appreciate you ever so much. But to our Fumble family out there, we want to hear your thoughts on the All-Star game. Do you feel like anyone was a snub? Should Kawhi Leonard have been included in the game? What are your thoughts on the international players having spots reserved for them? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section.
And if you want to see more of Rodney's sweater collection, that link is in our bio. Please go and check out our newsletter, providing you all the latest and greatest happening in sports right now. Go check it out. Thank you.
Am I rubbing off on you? That was good. That was a Rodney-esque sign off. That was cold.